Alright guys, what's going on? So if you saw in the last video of this car, we kind of had a little bit of an issue with the fuel system. We weren't quite sure what it is, but coming back now, we finally, at least I think, we know what's going on with this car. So we actually thought the fuel pump was going on, we thought it was vapor locking, we thought the fuel filter was clogged, we thought a bunch of things were going on with this car. However, Mike, my buddy, was telling me, oh, just listen to that. So what's going on here is these are vented gas caps. You guys hear that suction that came out? And look at the bottom of this thing. So these, which as I shake this back and forth, it's supposed to have a little vent thing inside of it. So basically as the tank builds up pressure, it vents out of the cap and your fill system still, you know, will go into the same amount of pressure. So what I think is happening, or what we thought was happening, is the fuel pressure is building about 4 to 5 pounds of pressure in the fuel system. And what is happening is as the fuel pump pumps fuel and the fuel level gets lower and lower and lower, it has to displace it with something. You displace fuel as you use fuel, you displace it with air in the tank. If the vent is not working properly, it will build pressure in the tank and it build more and more pressure. If the tank exceeds more pressure than the fuel pump can pull, then the fuel pump will not pull any fuel, which is going on because we drive it for a little bit, the tank would start to build pressure, and then as you saw, you take the cap off and it sucks out like that. That tank has a bunch of pressure in it. My pump will not pull any sort of fuel pressure out of that. So that's at least our theory or what we think is going on, which is a really easy fix. And I'll show you guys right now on my red Galaxie why I think this is the issue. All right, so you guys can see on my red car, basically the gas cap that's on this, as I open it, it doesn't make any noise, first of all. No suction noise. Take this thing out and listen. So that is a rollover pin basically, and it's a vent. So as the car rolls over, that ball would kind of fall and make sure gas doesn't spill out everywhere, and you know, obviously light the car on fire and kill you. But that's what we were looking for. Could just take the cap off this car, but I'm just gonna go get another one. Definitely what I was thinking what the issue was. All right, another thing I noticed is I don't have a starter bolt on the top. Nice. You don't need 2 bolts in your starter. So we've got our new gas cap in it now, which you can see. So now it actually vents. It doesn't have any sort of pressures. I mean, you can see I take it off. Yep. No big sucking noise. It's not making any sort of, or holding any sort of pressure anymore. We should be ready to drive this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive this thing into the gas station because I need to put gas in it anyways. So let's see if everything is fixed. If not, I'm gonna be sitting here for a few hours. Heck yeah. That car is way older, way cooler than mine, but I feel like we're brothers. Heck yeah, brother. So here's kind of the test. Can the car make it across the street in town to the gas station, turn off, put gas in it, and start back up? That's kind of the test. So we'll see. This car is a pain to put gas in. Huge pain. See how long this works. Look at this thing. It drives so good. Cruising at 1800 RPMs at about 50 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour or so. This is awesome. Look at that, nice farm town. Cruising my old 64 Galaxie. That's what I wanted. This thing is super fun to drive. Everything's feeling good. Transmission shifting, engine staying cool, steering feels great. I think I'm ready to get an appointment for an alignment and get this thing finished. Heck yeah. For whatever reason, it just started to fuel starve, so I don't know what's going on. If I give it any more throttle than what I'm giving it right now, it likes to choke up and doesn't make any power and wants to die. You can hear it. Oh, there we go. Oh, yep. Hear that? Ah, great. That's not good. We're gonna turn in right here. I don't know what's going on. Yikes. Ah, you were doing so good! So good! And it's making no fuel pressure again. I wonder if that's my gas cap again. I mean, it's warm, but it's not. It's a fuel issue again, so I don't know what the hell's going on. it's not making any fuel pressure. Maybe I do need a fuel pump. All right, so here's my hypothesis. Not the gas cap anymore. That was an issue, but we fixed it. So we have 0 fuel pressure again. But what I'd have to say is, since my fuel filter doesn't have any fuel in it, and my fuel line is metal right here, and it's close to the manifolds, and it's pretty hot, I think we're getting the actual vapor lock here. So I think it's actually, as the motor heats up, it's starting to boil that fuel line and boiling the fuel inside of it. Therefore, I'm not getting any fuel pressure. So yeah, that's cool. I don't think it's the fuel pump. I mean, I could change the fuel pump just cause I have another one. I'll probably change it anyways. But yeah, it is a little annoying that it keeps doing this because it was driving so good. I cannot even, I can't even stress how nice it was driving. It was really perfect. It was driving better than it was on the cruise, and so I was like, oh, heck yeah, dude, I totally fixed it. Nope, I was wrong. It's broke again, so I have another fuel issue. So I don't know if I want to heat shrink that or heat wrap that fuel line or run a new fuel line, or I don't know anymore. I'm getting kind of annoyed. I'm not really sure. I think I'm just gonna gravity bleed from the tank and see if the fuel line's clogged and just start A to B on the fuel system, because this is getting quite annoying with this car. Plot twist, it's fine. Now it's fine. 0 fuel pressure, let it cool down for 15 minutes, now it's fine. I think it literally is vapor locking because it stopped boiling whatever fuel was in it, so now it seems to be fine. So I got like a 5-minute drive left, so if it does it again, I'll just pull over again. I can feel it starting again, damn it. Round 2, wait a minute. Round 2, here we go. Alright, this is just seeming to be a common occurrence of this stupid car. So I want to catch up with you guys when we get back home. I think I know what's going on now. Alright, I'm going to test a little theory here. So basically it's had about an hour to cool off, so everything's nice and cool now. It's not warm anymore. So if my theory is correct, I have fuel now in the fuel filter. You can see it down there. So I think it is actually vapor locking because I didn't even notice this actually. My hard line, you guys can see it, is actually pretty darn close to the manifolds. It's probably about 2 inches or so away. But I think we're gonna reroute that on the other side of the frame. I'm gonna come in through the side so it just kind of avoids this, because one of my buddies has had this problem on his Mustang, years ago, so I didn't think much of it. But I bet you now that it's cooled off, it'll actually run just fine. So we're gonna try it, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera over here so you guys can hopefully watch the fuel pressure gauge. Would you look at that? It's making fuel pressure. Doesn't look like it's making a lot, but it was definitely doing better. So I think that tells me my issue. All right, so here's, oh geez. Okay, so here's my hypothesis of this car. So obviously, as we showed earlier, our fuel line's really close, and there's a little clip down here. The fuel line's actually supposed to run under, and it's not. So what I'm gonna do is try to reroute this hard line a little bit and get it more kind of back out and down. Or what we might end up doing is cutting the hard line back by the frame and rerouting the hard line up and in front of the, basically up and along the front side of the frame, and we'll come up and over it right here, right in front of the control arm, then we'll just go straight across into the fuel pump. It's kind of my last resort to what I think this could be. And then I'm also gonna put a new fuel pump in the car just in case, because it was kind of a lower fuel pressure. It was at like, I think 3 to 4, should be at like 4 to 5, 5 to 6, something like that. So probably just gonna change the pump, change that. We're just gonna change everything, screw it. Might as well put a new motor in it again. All right, so here's what I got. So I went ahead and I realized there's this little clip guy right here. So it was obviously not in that clip. That clip kind of holds it away from the headers. So I went ahead and rerouted it into that clip, and now you can see it's a little bit more pushed back. This is actually the factory location. The only issue I was having is I think I gotta take this upper brake line off. because you can see the fuel line actually goes on top of it, and it should go behind it. So I think that's the one thing I want to do, is end up taking the brake line off. I don't have time to bleed the brakes right now because I'm by myself, but tomorrow at work I'm going to go get some heat shield. I'll basically take this section of the fuel line off and that upper brake line off. I'll run the sheath on top of that, and hopefully that should fix our issue. It should get it back in the right location, and it'll kind of tuck it underneath this upper control arm, so it's out of the way and not anywhere near the headers. I also went ahead and ran it again, and now we're basically back at our optimal, 4.5 pounds, 5 pounds where we were at. It's starting to go down a little bit, but it was right at 4.5, which is where we normally were. So that's a lot better. I was just wanting to get some fuel pressure back in this thing, so that's good. But yeah, this car is just a never-ending battle, I guess. I don't really know why it doesn't like me so much, but like I said, I'm gonna fix that one spot and reroute it on the upper fuel line, so hopefully it doesn't vapor lock anymore. Move it away from the exhaust manifolds, and we should be good to go. All right, well, the car's now here. We've actually made it, which is pretty cool, but I keep having issues with this car, so I ended up changing the carburetor on. So I'll show you guys this real quick. So it is at a show, or at a cruise night, so I want to just take that into consideration. You can see there's people all around, which is nice. I put my quick fuel carburetor on it, which some of you might remember. This is what I quote-unquote broke the engine in with when we first got it running. But that actually was the good part, and we've been driving it around a little bit, and as you can probably see underneath the car, we have a massive coolant leak, which I was like, oh wow, that's weird, it got hot, it dumped a lot of coolant. But that's not the issue. You guys might be able to see that lower radiator hose is pretty much touching the belt. Yeah, so I wore a hole in the lower radiator hose, so now I have a hole in my lower radiator hose. That's freaking cool. Love it. So I guess just when you think you fixed literally everything on the car, that's just breaks, another thing breaks. So now I got a coolant issue to fix. I fixed most of the fuel system. I'm not running a return line style system. That's kind of a reason I think that it was vapor locking. So I might run a return line. I might change the fuel pump a little bit. But it did run really good, at least for the couple laps that I did out here. It's a little bit cooler. It's probably towards like low 80s right now instead of the 90s and up. So that's good. But anyways, like the video if you did enjoy. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Looks like I got some coolant issues I got to fix and reroute the lower coolant hose. So look forward to that. I'll see you guys in the next video with the Galaxie.